Want to thank you so much for spending your evening with us. You are in for a treat. We have somebody that's extremely charismatic tonight, so I'm really pumped about having him share his thoughts about our company. Before I get into that, I just want to welcome all the brand spanking new team members. This company is exploding from all seams. I know there is a lot of things going on right now. I'm really looking forward to seeing the fourth quarter earnings statement. If you haven't read the third quarter, you need to take a look at that. But just to give you a little insight about who I am, if you haven't met me yet, and more importantly, I want to welcome all the guests that are on tonight as well. I have been with this company, LifeVantage, now for 8.5 years. It's been one heck of a run. Never in a million years would I ever thought I'd be doing this full time. I spent 30 plus years in the fitness industry, started back in 1979 as a health club instructor, making $2.13 an hour plus commissions. And you know what? It was the best time of my life. My hopes and dreams and aspirations were to own health clubs all over this country and literally make millions and millions of dollars. Well, fast forward 20 years, I own 3 large gyms here in Jacksonville. I'm certainly not complaining, but even though I own those gyms, and it took me 20 years to figure this out, folks, I was still building somebody else's dream. I didn't own the property that the gyms were on. Those guys made all the money, and I didn't own the finance company. And those guys literally made tens of millions of dollars from me in those 20 years. I finally wised up, figured it out, and I walked away from the health club business and started my own personal training company, which quickly morphed into a wellness company. We're living the American dream for about 6-7 years. And then what happened in 2009? Literally the floor just came out from underneath us. This economic debacle that we went into, I was a casualty, you might say. We lost 3 6-figure contracts in 30 days, and it literally brought my little wellness company to its knees. Everything works for a reason. I was asked to be a keynote speaker, and I traveled up to Atlanta, and I went up there for one reason: to drum up new business, to retool. And after my keynote, a complete stranger had the courage to walk up to me and ask me if I've ever heard of this product called Protandem. And folks, let me tell you something. I mean, God's my witness. If there wasn't 8 to 10 people waiting in line to speak to me behind her, I most likely would have turned around and walked away from her. I've never endorsed a product in those 30 years. And at that moment, Protandem wasn't going to be the first. But the next thing that came out of that woman's mouth literally retired me from the fitness industry 22 months later. And that was, would I be willing to watch a 9-minute video on an ABC primetime investigative report? That got my attention, because as long as I've been in the fitness world, the nutraceutical world, I've never seen a television investigating reporting program with the credibility of ABC News ever do a positive spin on a dietary supplement. So that piqued my interest. I get home, I watch the video, and the precise moment this world-renowned scientist, who, by the way, never even heard of before, gives John Quinones, who I've seen on TV many, many times, his blood test results. I'm elbowing my wife. I'm like, honey, that hasn't happened yet. That's history in the making. And if we can validate this, I think we're on to something. I think I found a solution for our money problems. So what I did, since I've never endorsed a product before, I was just finishing up some work with the Mayo Clinic. What a resource, right? I beelined it to those guys, and I asked them one question. I go, if you were going to put your name on a product, where would you guys go to validate? And there's about 6 or 7 doctors at the time, and not one of them sent me to the University of Google. Actually, one of them actually said this: that's precisely where you don't want to go because of all the bloggers. That's where you get misinformation, was the quote. And they go, Gabe, just go to the National Institutes of Health, type in the name of this product in the search bar, and if you get a hit, you are on to something. So the long short of it is when they validated this product for me, folks, I'm simple. I just checked the validity box. I didn't want to try to validate something that was already been validated by people a lot smarter than me, right? But what I focused on was this industry, and I wanted to learn how to become a professional. I was an athlete, and I've always heard this: amateurs have to practice to play. I mean, what is that? I can't even remember now. And professionals get paid to play. All right. Amateurs don't get paid to play is what I'm trying to say. And that's always stuck with me. So 22 months later, and actually I got involved with this business to make $2,200 a month to keep my kids in private school. I'm finding myself writing our last payroll check. Folks, that was July 31st, 2011, nearly 7 years ago. And it has been an incredible business. Now we have a business that literally is pushing 100,000 people. And what I'm all excited for all of you, especially for the guests on tonight, is to listen carefully about this opportunity, because if you do this business right, it will be your primary source of income. And it's just going to take you some time to understand, the business model. And I think what we want to start out with tonight is what makes this company, above everyone else. And obviously you have to have the products, right? The right products. And we just so happen to have category creating products. And I couldn't think of a better person to bring on tonight to kind of walk us through and hear his story. You're going to fall in love with this gentleman. This is just a tad of his bio. He's been a family physician here in Jacksonville for the past 43 years. He provides medical care as a volunteer for the PGA Tour, for the Players Championship that we just had this past weekend, and the President's Cup. How cool is that, just to be able to hang with those guys? He's an NCAA Division I volunteer. That was in the year 2007. But what I really love, and I didn't know this about him, he was inducted into the UNF, that's the University of North Florida here in Jacksonville, the Athletic Hall of Fame back in 2006. And I want to welcome Dr. Buster Browning to the webinar tonight. Doc, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
I know you've been extremely busy for the last couple of weeks, and thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us, enlightening, people what we have. But before we get into that, I know we spent, nearly a week together in the Bahamas a couple of weeks ago. Just kind of share everyone. I want everyone to get a flair of what LifeVantage is all about, because it's about helping people. It's about fun. It's about making money. But let's talk about the fun part of it. Just kind of share your experience that you and Debbie had in the Bahamas with everyone tonight.
We had a great time. There was 750 incentive winners that came down there from all over the world. And I mean, China, Australia, you name it, they were there. And they were brought there, all expenses paid, to say thank you. The whole time we were there, I ran into Darren Jensen 3 or 4 times, and he said, I know who you are. We're watching you. And we're really proud for you to be in our organization. And I said, well, I really appreciate you having us here. And every one of the guys, the CFO, the CMO, and Daryl, they said, no, you're here because we're saying thank you to you and everybody here. The impressive thing for me was the whole time we were there for the 5 days, the company never talked about business. Never talked about business. It was about helping other people. We did a LifeVantage community project on Friday morning, and everybody was there. The Pro 10s, the Pro 5s, the CEO, the CFO, they were all there stuffing bags of food, stuffing school bags. And that really means a lot to me because I believe in giving back to the community. The other thing was you got to hobnob with people who were really way up in the organization, like Gabe and Jill and Bob and Sissy Triglia, and you got to understand how it is you get there. You don't get there overnight. This is not a get get rich quick thing. And if you're looking for that, don't get with us, because this is a product that's unique to anything we've ever seen. And it's a building business of helping other people, but you got to educate them to use the product. And that's where we are tonight.
Yeah, isn't that cool that you know, basically, you know, what we're supposed to be doing, the company throws out an all expense paid. And folks, let me tell you something. They don't even require us to even tip people. We have to do it underhanded. They take care of everything. So it's just, they treat you like a rock star. It's incredible. Now, I know that you've had the luxury of having some great mentors with Bob and Sissy Triglia. Right. Congratulations on reaching, you know, Pro 5. Folks, if you're a guest on what Pro 5 is, it's halfway up, you know, the compensation plan. And when you hit Pro 5, the company awards you with a leadership trip. So, you know, Buster is getting ready to go out to Salt Lake City, Utah, stay in a beautiful ski resort, and they're preparing him, you know, for, you know, leading people outside of his organization. So congratulations for that too. I know you're seeing a lot of success.
We're looking forward to that.
Yeah. Now, just kind of walk everyone through, you know, how long you've been with this company, you know, just kind of walk everybody through from the time you heard about us to where we are tonight. It's a great story.
It's a great story, and put a big S on my forehead for either slow or stupid. I'm not sure which one. But Bob Triglia came to see me. He's been a patient of mine since he was 14, and I'll end the story at that as far as he goes. Came to me in 2010 and said, I would like for you to run an oxidative stress level. And I said, what is that? You know, and I said, okay, explain it to me. So he talked about Protandim, which I'd never heard of. I'd heard about free radicals and oxidative stress and some of the issues about that, and antioxidants. So he explained to me a little bit about the product. So we called the company, and the company told me to run a lipid peroxidase level, basically a T-bar level. And Bob's came back, and he doesn't mind me telling this because he tells it all the time. He was about 13.7. 10 was toxic. Anything above 10 was pretty significant. So he took the product. 3 months later, he came back, and his level was about 7. And I looked at him, and I said, you know, you've just changed your genetic markers, the way you're taking this. You need to take this, and I need to take it. So I started taking it in 2010, and I took it for 7 years before I got involved with selling the product in my office. That's why I call it slow or stupid. I'm not sure which one. So anyway, I had prostate cancer about 5-6 years ago, very minor. And then last year, right before the Players, I had a stent put in. And I got to thinking this summer when I turned 70 that, you know, my father had a massive heart attack at age 61, and he died at 71 with prostatic cancer. And I said, you know, I have the same genetic markers that he did. And I said, what's the difference? Well, the only difference was I was taking the Protandim. At that point, I pulled out the information that Bob had given me recently and said, look at this data. So I did, and I started looking at all the National Institute of Health abstracts, 23 to 25 now that's available. And the light, I had an Oprah Winfrey moment. Aha, I should be taking this. My wife, my whole family should be taking this. And my patients ought to have the opportunity to or not to take the product. But my job as a healing physician is to do no harm. This is a natural product, and we'll get into that. It has no side effects, and it really does what it says it does. And so I think, Gabe, I started about the middle or late August of this past year. I reached Pro 5 in December because of just telling my patients about the product and let them look at the video. And it's been a great experience, and I'm starting now to see 6 months in results from my patients. Liver enzymes are better, blood pressure is dropping, diabetes people are taking them off of some medicines. So it's a really exciting time to see intracellular health come on the market.
Yeah, I tell you what, I've been watching this very closely for 8.5 years. And obviously, you know this, and I'm going to say this just if it's not on your mind. We're not saying that Protandim, treats, mitigates, prevents, or cures.
Right.
But we all know that, reducing oxidative stress, by 40% in 30 days is category creating. You can't find another product that does that. We'll get into that a little bit later. But just for my own behalf, and I know there's a lot of golfers out there, I got to pick your brain. I'm watching the trophy presentation yesterday on NBC, and lo and behold, you're right there, behind in the background of the camera. You got a pretty cool story. I know you have the luxury of seeing, Tiger and Phil and all these incredible golfers all week long. You get to hobnob with them. Any back, locker room stories that you can share that's fairly clean?
Most of that's patient doctor confidentiality. But I will tell you that I've been blessed. I started as a volunteer first aid chairman for TPC in 1976.
Wow.
So I've been doing that since then, and got to know a lot of the players, and they asked me to become their personal physician during that week, stay in the locker room, take care of the families, the PGA Tour officials, and the players. And that's how it started. And it's just been a great run. It's a lot of fun. It's very humbling to have these guys walk in, Phil, and a lot of the guys say, "Hey, Doc, how you doing? Glad to see you back," and become a very, very good relationship throughout the PGA world. And hopefully we're going to move the product into that world one of these days. So.
Well, you bring so much value, to LifeVantage, and that's part of the comments that the executives were commenting about you in the Bahamas. Because for folks, for those of you who don't know, and I'm not tooting his horn, he's earned every word of this. He's an icon in Jacksonville, and to have him. For me to be able to say that I'm a business partner with Dr. Browning is a big deal, so we're so thankful, that you're an advocate. You now understand the business. I'm really looking forward to a strong relationship and helping you, get to the top rank so we can have a great time together.
Well, I think that's a good thing to underline is your upline people are there to help you. So if you're struggling or you have issues, you need to talk to your upline people, research. If you haven't, take the training courses that are in your back office. They're very helpful. The LB Move, all these products, all these apps that we've just developed are just to help you get to the next level and get our story out. Now, it's important we get the story out because we have a product that nobody else has. We have a product that we have shown that reduces oxidative stress. And for people who are a little concerned about oxidative stress, it's like if I took a gasoline engine and put it in this room and ran it and did not do anything for removing the exhaust, eventually the fumes in the room will make the engine start running inefficiently, or it's going to misfire, or it's going to quit. That's the aspects of what the free radicals do and what happens when the cell tries to take care of them. You get an oxidative stress or toxic fumes, if you will. Protandim, through research by Dr. McCord, has proved that we increase the production of antioxidants at the intracellular level 1,000,000 times more per second than what you can do yourself. You can't take enough vitamin C to equal what Protandim will do. As a matter of fact, they tell us you need to take 354 oranges a day to equal what Protandim does as vitamin C would. So every one of these 5 different enzymes are doing that. And I'm excited about this. My wife always says I sound like the guy in the back of the wagon train that pulls up the flap on the covered wagon, and the guy's playing the piano, and he's got the whip and he's got the snake oil, and it cures everything. We don't say it cures anything. All I can tell you is every cell in your body has the NRF1 and NRF2 system. The NRF2 system is what Protandim goes to and increases the production of those antioxidants 1,000,000 times per second more than you can do naturally. So what I tell my patients and I tell my downline, you have to tell people it takes 3 months, scientifically proven, to get your cell to a non-toxic, quote unquote, level. I think it takes another 3 to 6 months for the cells to be working in a clean environment for them to start working more naturally, more efficiently, and don't misfire. The 3 aspects of aging and disease and death. We are now known as the biohacker of aging because we know what this product can do. So be smart, be wise, and come with us because we're only going to the top. We have the only thing like it in the world. It's a very unique multi-level marketing company because they have figured out what is best for us, and what's best for us is best for all. So come on board with us and get involved.
Well, I tell you what, I think the most important part of the science is what you just hit on, because most people don't understand direct antioxidants. And folks, the definition of a direct antioxidant, it comes from an external source. You have to put it into the body. So if you woke up this morning and you had your 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, since Dr. Browning used that as an analogy, what he's saying when your body absorbs it, it releases a good guy. And that good guy's got one function, and that function is go find a bad guy. And when it finds the bad guy, they bind together and they're both destroyed. So if you look at the analogy that's to the side of the slide right there, the house that's on fire, this is Dr. McCord's analogy. He says, imagine a house being on fire. The house is your body, and fire is what Dr. Browning was just educating us on, oxidative stress, how and why we age on a cellular level, and a major contributing factor of how we get diseases. And then by taking the vitamin C caplet, the 1,000 milligrams, it's equivalent to putting out, taking a Dixie cup full of water and trying to put the house fire out. I mean, hate to tell you, folks, the house is coming down, right? Now, what Dr. Browning just educated us on when he was talking about killing 1 million bad guys per second, second after second, is imagine your house having a sprinkler system, and it's on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And what it does, it annihilates that fire by 40%. So that's the difference. Remember this, a river beats an eyedropper, all right, when it comes to this product. So thank you so much for explaining that, because I think that's the most important, because the lay person really doesn't know. They think fighting free radicals is, let me go grab that. That's a good thing. Folks, fighting free radicals is insignificant. This is the first product, as Dr. Browning just said, that can reduce free radicals. That's the new paradigm. And Dr. Browning just said, we have no competition. So for all the guests that are on this webinar tonight, imagine the business that you're in, okay? And I don't care if you are a real estate guy, a finance guy, a plumber, a trainer, whatever it is, you're the only one. You have no competition. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? It's like Dr. Browning being the only doctor in the world. If anybody needs help, they've got to come see him and him only, all right? Well, that's what we have from a business perspective. And what made me pull the trigger is when I saw the ABC Primetime News piece, and I had a wellness company, in my mind, I was thinking to myself, wow, could you imagine if ABC News comes knocking on my wellness door and says, hey, Gabe, we've been hearing nothing but great things about your wellness company. We'd like to do a positive spin on it. Would it help me get a few more customers? Folks, that's what we have. So imagine not having any competition, and on top of no competition, ABC News, is doing a positive spin on your business. Would it help you get a few more customers a little bit faster? That's what Dr. Browning was explaining to us about. So think about the opportunity. And I know most people that we hang out with love to help people. We like to have fun. And if you can make a few dollars with that, it's the trifecta. Okay. Now, Dr. Browning, let me ask you this question. Help everyone on this viewing audience, help them to understand the significance of being a dietary supplement, and help them understand what peer-reviewed science is and patents. Can you just kind of help them to understand the enormity of that?
Sure. The biggest thing is these are 5 natural products that McCord studied individually, and he saw that each one of these did exactly what it said it did. It worked on thistle, worked on the liver, turmeric worked on inflammation, et cetera, et cetera. And he looked at each one of these. And when we went for the patent on this, the FDA said, these are all natural products. We're not going to let you do that. So he went back and he showed how each one of these products did exactly what it said it did on a one-to-one basis. But when he showed them the Protandim and the results of the Protandim dropping 40 to 70% of the T-bars in 3 months, we got the patent because nobody had anything like it. There's no side effects to this because it's all natural products. It doesn't have any interactions with any of the medications you take. It does not cure or change or mitigate disease, as we've told you. The enormity of this is you can change the intracellular health yourself for a very, very minimal amount of cost, $50 a month to 30 pills, and I'm sure you know enough people that are taking $500 a month of trying to stay young, anti-aging products and hormonal replacements. This product, Protandim, will take care of most of that by taking 1 pill a day. And it works.
That's a huge...
I tell you, in my practice, I've given people antibiotics and stomach medicines and all this other stuff. And you say, Gabe, take this for 4 days, and if it doesn't work, call me back and we'll try something else. This is the only thing I've seen in medicine where I say, Mrs. Jones, you take this for 3 months and I'll guarantee you your T-bars will drop at least 40%. And then I explained to her about oxidative stress and aging process. I can't do that with anything else in my practice.
That's just an amazing statement. And folks, let me kind of walk you through what he was just talking about. And you can see the graph up here. So in other words, if we go to a spice store, Dr. Browning and myself, and we buy all 5 of those extracts, and then we come back home and we take them individually, it would work like a direct antioxidant. It can only kill 1 bad guy for every 1 good guy. So Dr. McCord, and let me just kind of give you a bio of Dr. McCord. He is known today as the father of free radical biology. He discovered an enzyme in our body called SOD, superoxide dismutase, back in 1969. So prior to 1969, the powers to be thought that free radicals were in the ecosystem, not in our body. And because of that discovery, he is he's the only living recipient of the Elliott Crescent Award, now called the Ben Franklin Award. Some of the recipients is, Madame and Pierre Curie, Alexander Graham Bell, Henry Ford, Orville Wright, Dr. Joe McCord. So these incredible inventors and scientists. So you have to change the course of humanity to even be nominated, much less be a recipient. So he's in that kind of category. So what I'm trying to say, folks, is we don't have a couple of doctors on our scientific advisory board with their thumbs up, agreeing with the science. We've got the man who created the science. So when Dr. Browning was talking about this is a unique company, that's one of the major things that he was talking about. So getting back to the slide, Dr. McCord, it took him 40 years to figure this out. And I had the luxury of spending an afternoon with him here in Jacksonville. And what blew me away was, of all the plants, all the phytonutrients in the world, I asked him this question: how did you come up with those 5? And folks, God's honest, this was his answer. He looked at me and he says, Gabe, it was a God thing. He goes, it was meant to be. He goes, it's like trying to find 1 needle in 3 haystacks. He goes, I'm not sure if I can do it again. And I'll never forget that as long as I live, because if you have been able to watch the ABC Primetime Investigative Report, that was done in '05 when he took the T-bar test of John Quinones. 2005. This is 2018, and still nobody's been able to duplicate it. So this is a unique company that we have something that nobody else has. And I tell you what, folks, what we're doing is we are pioneering something called nutrigenomics. And if you've never heard that term, put it in your memory bank, because you're going to be hearing it over and over and over in the next couple of years. It's the research of how nutrients and natural compounds like foods affect our genes. And Dr. Browning keeps going back to that. Talks about how, it affects the DNA. So what this product does is get your own body to do its own work, what your body was meant to do for the first 20 years of life. And that's make more good guys. So to close this slide out, what Dr. McCord was able to do was find the right combination of those 5 ingredients that changes the chemistry, that increases what's known as gene expression 18-fold. So it's 1,800% more powerful than taking turmeric by itself or milk thistle by itself. And that's how it turns on that pathway that Dr. Browning was educating us on, that we have in every single cell in our body. And when it turns it on, it does what it was meant to do. And that's make survival genes. That's antioxidant enzymes, antifibrotic enzymes, and anti-inflammatory enzymes. And Dr. Browning will tell you, who has the most good guys in the end wins, okay? So that kind of helps you understand the synergy. Can you talk about, just having patents behind the product and peer-reviewed studies, Dr. Browning, is that unusual, or is that something that you see that all the time in natural products?
It's a very unusual happening, and I'll tell you, the interesting thing for me was when you start talking to people about Protandim, they say, well, I'm taking this juice or these supplements, and et cetera. And I look at them, I say, good. Go to the National Institute of Health, put pub.gov and put your name of whatever product you're taking, and tell me if you find any articles, peer reviews. And 99.9% of the time, they don't. And we have 25 peer reviews, independent studies by different laboratories, different medical schools, research organizations, American Heart Association, the American Anti-Aging Group, all telling us that our product does what it says it does. And these are unsolicited studies that we do not pay for. We have nothing to do with them except find out if they work or not. And the more research is being done, because the NRF2 system has been touted by the University of Michigan as the most significant finding in medicine in 50 years. And you're a part of it. We're a part of it. We have the only patents. If you see, there's 6 patents here that are 25-year patents. So you're not getting into something that 3 years down the road, somebody's going to make a me too. They've tried and they haven't been able to do it yet. So be very comfortable with the fact that you have a unique product and a unique multi-level marketing group that's going to make sure that if you give us the right amount of time, we will make you healthier, your friends healthier, and you financially stable.
Well, I really appreciate your time tonight. I know you want to just focus on Nerf 2. I'm gonna kind of go through some slides, folks. What I'm going to talk about now is the company, the timing, and a little bit of the compensation plan. Hopefully I'll get that done in the next 10, 15 minutes. Obviously, folks, we have 23 products. We have 2 activators. You're looking at our first one, NRF2. Dr. Browning, mentioned about NRF1. That's another activator that makes more ATP, which in turn makes more mitochondria. What I would recommend that you do is just get with the person who invited you tonight, and they can walk you through the category creating products that we have. They're all patented. They're all scientifically validated. It's what makes this company, it just stands out. We don't have Me Too products, so I've got a couple slides. We mentioned Nerf 2 activation, and Washington State University says that we may be on the verge, of a new, health effects on NRF2 will become the most extraordinary therapeutic, and listen to this, folks, the most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. Again, it's getting your own body to do its own work, what your body was meant to do for the first 20 years of life. Think about this, first 20 years of life, we're not aging. You're growing predominantly, right? It's because we have an over and abundance of good guys. So I really, really, encourage all of you that are guests tonight to pick the person's brain who invited you. There's all kinds of science behind, these products, which really, makes us, when we put our head on the pillow at night, we sleep comfortable because we know we're doing the betterment of mankind because they're peer reviewed. And as Dr. Browning mentioned, they're the most scrutinized way to get something completely validated by experts in that field of study. This is a corporate office in Sandy, Utah, just out of Salt Lake City. What I love about the company is publicly traded. So everything that Dr. Browning just said, everything that I've said so far, we can't embellish because it's transparent. Both of us absolutely loves that, so, if you want to know anything about the company, you go to Yahoo Finance, and you can get the gist of how excited that we are about what's about to happen with this company. I love the fact that we have, strong leadership. We have a man that Dr. Browning mentioned that he had spoke to in the Bahamas. His name is Darren Jensen. He has 26 years of experience, and he just completed his international expansion team. And if you look at the executives here in the United States and, his team internationally, we're positioned, right now to really grow the company. We just added 7 new countries a couple of weeks ago from a customer standpoint. So right now we're in 10 markets from a distributorship standpoint and 17 markets from a customer standpoint. And if you read our performer, we're going to be in over 100 markets. So there's really nowhere to go but grow. I love the fact that, this company, if you look at the numbers, because we're publicly traded, over 70% are customers because of the likes of people like Dr. Browning with, impeccable credibility and integrity saying this is the real deal. That's the bedrock, folks. That's that's your fortune. When the majority of the company are consumers, that is a good thing. It's not about distributors and recruitment. So it's unheard of in the network marketing world. And it's because we have category creating science. I love the fact that we're an international company. I love the fact that we're the title sponsors of a major league, soccer franchise, Real Salt Lake. On the uniforms, it says LifeVantage. So now we're being seen in 80 different countries. So we're starting to work on branding. And that's what I want to get to right now is talk about timing. Timing's everything. And if you look at the S curve, where this company is, we haven't hit critical mass yet. Let me see if I can get a pin. I just learned something today. So I'm going to go ahead and hopefully, there you go. See that little pin right there that I have? So right now, LifeVantage is right before critical mass, all right? And if you look at the industry statistics, for a company to hit critical mass, they're doing about 600 million in revenues. Folks, we're just right at 200 million right now. So we haven't even hit critical mass. And what they say is, in network marketing, if you have 100 people on your team and you hit critical mass, it grows threefold. Now you have 300. Well, 80% of the market share, that means money, is in the momentum phase. So imagine if you bought Microsoft stock in the late 70s. If you bought $1,000 worth in the late 70s, you're worth millions and millions and millions. If you go to a brokerage house tomorrow and buy Microsoft stock and you buy $1,000 worth, what are you going to get? 3 or 4 shares? You missed the boat. So in my mind, where it says stabilization up here up top, that should say too late. You missed the boat, all right? So what Dr. Browning and myself are so excited about is this company is ready to hit that momentum phase. And then when it hits momentum, it grows 8-fold. So timing is everything. Now, there's a lot of people. Oh, before I get into that, let me just kind of share this with you. This is a new slide that I'm going to start sharing with this opportunity. This is how long does it take for these big companies, to reach 200 million. All right. And if you look at Natura, that's a Brazilian, anti-aging company, a South American company. It took them 25 years to reach 200 million. They're $1 billion company today. Okay. There's only 13 of them, folks. This is a big deal. Look at Mary Kay. It took them 23 years to reach 200 million. USANA, it took them 18 years. Herbalife, 5 years. Amway, 13 years. Nu Skin, 6 years. These are all multi-billion-dollar companies, and it only took our company 4 years to reach 200 million. And folks, listen to me very carefully. And that was predominantly with one product that cost $40 a month, not catalogs full. Now look how long it took them to reach the $1 billion. Natura from 25 years to 37 years. So look at those numbers. Now because we haven't hit critical mass yet and we haven't hit momentum, how much of that billion do you want, folks? Timing is now. So for those of you that are guests on this call tonight, you can never say for the rest of your life that you never found an opportunity before the wave hit, all right? Because most people find the opportunity after the wave goes by. You can't say that. So what I would suggest that you do is what Dr. Browning and myself did, is find reasons not to do it, okay? And you're not gonna be able to. So that is a powerful, powerful slide that helps you to understand it's a little bit easier selling category creating products than soap or toothpaste or weight loss shakes. They're a dime a dozen. Nobody has a Nerf 2 activator in the world. We're the only one. And that's what makes this opportunity so cool. Now from I lost my slides. Let's see if it works here. There you go. Now, real quick, I'm not going to get into this because I want to be done in 3 minutes. The opportunity side. Folks, Dr. McCord spent 40 years in a lab. He came up with Protandem, and what all of us can do is carve out a piece of it and put it in our back pocket, okay? And it doesn't take a lot of money, in this industry to get started. Dr. Browning, if you're going to open up your practice today, I know you've had your practice for 43 years. It's very unfair to see what the cost was. How much would it cost a doctor to start their own practice in 2018? Estimation.
100 to 150,000 minimum.
When I opened my gym in 1987, just one gym, it cost me $500,000. Folks, look at these prices down there, and it's all product. You buy yourself a kit that's like a business in a box for $50. So if you get the silver kit that's on the far right-hand side, this right here, you're buying $300 worth of product at a 20% below wholesale cost. There's no risk here. If you get the 650 kit, you're buying $600 worth of product at 25% below wholesale. And if you get the kit that Dr. Browning and myself got, which is the better value, you're buying it at 30% below wholesale, not to mention a slew of other benefits that you have, and I don't have time to go in. So there's absolutely no risk at all. And we just want you to be teachable and coachable. Dr. Browning said, use your team members, what we call your upline, to help you to understand the business. So the 3 things that you can walk away with tonight, the price of getting started. These are my 3 questions. The cost of getting started, there you go. How do I get my investment back? Enroll 3, and you've got your investment back. So think about 3 buddies that you want to spend time with, have fun with, and make money with, right? And then the most important question, for me was, the cost of doing business. All right. And Dr. Browning, how much does it cost you to operate your practice each month? Estimation.
Oh, I would say $65,000 to $70,000.
Right. Folks, this is $200. And what's fascinating, because this is generation 3 network marketing, you're not going to have a garage full of product, stacked up to the ceiling in your garage, because our company allows you to offset the cost of doing business, $200 down to $40. You are going to have to spend $40 a month. So if you go out and get, 4 people on a bottle of NRF2 Protandim that Dr. Browning talked about, that's 160. 160 plus 40, there's your 200. Now you're qualified to be paid 8 different ways. Okay, so it's not like you have to buy all this product, and if you don't sell it fast enough, they're going to send you more product and more product and more product, and it's to the ceiling of your garage. All right, and the last slide that I'll show you to help you understand the enormity of how we get paid, because it's leveraged income, it's not linear income. In other words, if I saw Dr. Browning this morning, all right, he's my doctor, I'm his patient. When I walk out of his office, he is now unemployed until his next patient, right? Leveraged income is if I go see Dr. Browning this morning, and let's say it costs me, couple $100, right? He gets that money month after month after month after month, and he only saw me one time. So the reason why we're excited about this industry is because you're building an asset. You don't have to do the activity. Do the activity earlier, and that asset, you get paid over and over and over again. Now, Dr. Browning is what we call a Pro 5. A Pro 4, all right, is when your business is doing $10,000 a month in revenue. That's not income. Your income is $1,193. So imagine making $1,100 a month in this country. That would pay most people's mortgages. Dr. Browning is doing, and again, folks, it's a side hustle for him. You imagine how busy that man is, and he's still able, as a side hustle, to become a Pro 5, and the average Pro 5 check is $2,500 a month. And look at Pro 6. Look at the incomes, folks, right? When you hit Pro 7, when Dr. Browning hits Pro 7, his upline, which is me and a bunch of other people, now become his downline. Now he gets paid on everybody in my organization, and he gets paid on everybody in the company. So everybody that he met in the Bahamas that's not in his organization, he's sharing 1% of worldwide revenues. Does the company that you work for allow you to have unlimited income? Do you get paid royalty? You get paid on profits, right? And when you hit Pro 8, and that's where his upline is, Bob and Sissy Triglia, they're getting paid on 2% of worldwide revenues. They're what we call Elite Pro 8s. When you're Elite Pro 9, you get paid 3% of worldwide revenues. You get to where I'm at, you've maxed out. You get paid on, you're sharing in 4% of worldwide revenues. And this is what I want you to walk away with. The largest, and look at the numbers, and this is publicly traded, folks, they're to the penny. We're only in 10 markets. Now, what I want you to do is fast forward 3 to 5 years. Now we're in 50 markets. What are those numbers going to look like? The largest income earners are not even enrolled yet. And don't say that people on top make all the money and people on the bottom do all the work, don't get paid. That is an absolute fallacy. My business does over $1 million a month in revenues. Yeah, you heard me right. The person that's above me that has my revenue She is, actually, I don't know what her rank is. I'm guessing it's Pro 3 or Pro 4. All right. So when people tell you people on top make all the money, she's above me. That's a fallacy. Okay. And the person who enrolled her is a Pro 8. I'm a Pro 10. So do your research. Find a reason not to do this. You've heard all this bad mouthing from people who failed in this industry. Go get some information from people who succeeded in this business, and you get two different stories. Folks, like Dr. Browning said, it's hard work, right? But you get paid so much better than you do from a linear income standpoint. So hopefully that makes some sense. I know we're 5 minutes over, but when you have someone like Dr. Browning on as your guest, you know, I could pick his brain all night long. So Dr. Browning, thank you so much for being on tonight. Really, really appreciate it. And folks, thank you so much for being on the webinar tonight. Get with the person who invited you and tell them that you want a LifeVantage ID number. And tell them that you want the silver pack, the gold pack, or the platinum pack. Get in where you fit in. And then, like Dr. Browning said, plug yourself into the system. We have what's called the proven plan. It's simplistic, it's duplicable, and it's perfected. That's what I did. This is my first time being involved in the company. I'm at the top. This is his first time in being involved in a network marketing business too, and he's halfway up the compensation plan in a short amount of period of time. So with that said, thank you so much. We will be on next Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time, same meeting ID number.